So, you moved away from your home country to the foreign country where you're living now, 5 or maybe even 10 or 20 years ago, but you still feel like you don't belong, like you're the foreigner there. Despite your efforts to learn the English language, to integrate with the locals, you still feel as if you're not from there. And weirdly enough, when you go back home to visit your relations and friends, you feel like they perceive you as the stranger now because you haven't been living in your home country for a while. So you literally feel torn apart between the two worlds, not really belonging anywhere. I know exactly how it feels because I was going through the same emotions when I lived in Ireland. I lived there between 2002 and 2024, and even after a few years since I established my life there, right, and I learned the English language to fluency, and I made the effort to integrate, I was still feeling like I didn't belong there. And I was having all these situations where I felt that people were not accepting me. The typical question that triggered me was, where are you from? And I was having these situations where someone would start having a small talk with me, and after a couple of sentences, they hear that I'm not a local, right? And they would ask me, where are you from? And it offended me because I perceived it as them being very rude. To me, it was like, hey, that's something quite personal. So talk to me for like 5 minutes, get to know me. And then when I have allowed you kind of a bit in, right? Then you can ask these personal questions. So by the way, where are you from? Blah, 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 that kind of way. So it offended me. I was always triggered. I was always angry about it. And I remember this one occasion where I was sitting in a sauna in a gym, and a guy walks in and just strikes a conversation with me. He said something along the lines of, oh yeah, it's really hot or something. And then I was like, yeah, it is. And the moment he heard my accent, he was like, where are you from? And I was like, who cares? Like, what difference does it make where I'm from? I was really angry. So there was something inside of me that felt not accepted, not welcome, you know? It felt like it didn't belong. And that feeling, that emotion was playing itself out time and time again. And back then, I thought that it was the people, it was the locals, it was the environment, the country, whatever. And then a few years ago, when all these protests started all over the world in countries where there was a lot of immigration, people were coming in, I felt really threatened, as if someone is out there to get me personally, right? But guess what? Now that I understand that our lives are largely guided by our emotions and subconscious programming, now I understand that that emotion was trying to show me that there is something that needs to be healed, something unresolved inside of me, something not integrated, not accepted. And that's emotion kept attracting these people, these situations. And finally, when I started working with my subconscious mind and my subconscious programming and emotions, now I've let it go. Now I know that it's all inside of me. If I feel safe and accepted, and I feel like I belong internally in here, then regardless of what people out, external to me might feel and think about me, or regardless of what they might say, it won't trigger me because I feel like I belong here, right? And it's not to say that there aren't people who are against foreigners and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it's true, it's happening. But what I'm saying is that when you have healed that emotion inside of you, it will no longer be a problem. It won't trigger you. You won't become very emotional and angry, and you will not feel after 20 years having lived in a foreign country, that you still don't belong. You will feel like you belong no matter where you are on this planet.